Let's switch gears to the NFL now and talk about the ultimate collapse by the Cincinnati Bengals and how this is quite literally about to implode this team. At one point in the game on Sunday against the Chicago Bears, they were trailing 41-27, I believe, with about 4.5 minutes to go. They go ahead and they put together a 32-second four-play drive to score a touchdown, making it 41-35. They get the 2-point try. They onside kick it. They score another touchdown in 6 plays in under 50 seconds. They go up by 1. From there, all they needed was their defense was to get a stop. That's all they needed. They had Caleb Williams on the 3rd and 10. He scrambles for a 14-yard gain, and then he hits Colton Lovelace for like a 58-yard touchdown to go up 47-42. There's a little time left on the clock. Joe Flacco throws an interception. You could hear Jamar Chase coming off the field saying, "One F and stop." And then when we get into the locker room, Chase Brown talks to the media and said, "Man, you got to get an F and stop. That's all we needed. Finish the effing game." Jamar Chase was visibly upset. So when you can see that on their faces, bro, like if they telling that to the media, that means in that locker room it was a million times worse. Because you giving the polished up, cleaned up version when you go talk to the media. So if you saying F it to the media, boy, it's trouble in paradise. It's smoke in the city. All of those analogies that you can think of, that is what's happening in Cincinnati right now. Elijah, what do you say a loss like that says about the identity of the Cincinnati Bengals?
It's a major disconnect, but it's been like that before when the all season started. Henderson didn't get paid, so he sat out, and then well, now he's not playing for some type of injury. I forget what it is. And then last year with T Higgins, he didn't get paid, and finally got paid. Like so, it was always some disconnect with the organization, which I think they're a talented team. There's always some type of disconnect. So last night losing to the Bears in the fashion that they lost can be frustrating and it shows, but for it to leak out and the media catches it, tells you it tells you two things. It tells you that the team's going to break up sometime soon, whether next year or the year after, and it also tells you that they're not playing for one another. Everybody's out there for themselves. So Cincinnati, I don't even know what to say. I think they're one of the most talented teams in the NFL. I just think that they're just not playing for one another at this particular moment. So who knows who may lead? Or who knows? Is it Zac Taylor first? Is it Jamar Chase next? Is it Joe Burrow after? Is it T Higgins? Is it Trey Henderson? Does he get his trade before the trade deadline this year? Who knows? But at the end of the day, Cincinnati's nice. There's a discombobulated team right now, and it's starting to show. And the more they lose, the more you're gonna see their true identities of how they really feel about each other.
Yeah, they're not playing as a cohesive unit. Like you can score 150 points on offense, but if you give up 151 on defense, you lose the game every single time. And since that run where they went to the Super Bowl and then went to the AFC Championship game, they've regressed as a complementary football team. Obviously, having Trey Hendrickson there helps a ton, but if you can't give him what he's worth, and if he's not on the field, and then you have Shamar Stewart, the rookie that was sitting out because of the contract dispute and all these different things and aspects that were happening, when you don't have that cohesive continuity across the board on both sides of the ball, yes, you have T. Higgins. Yes, you have Jamar Chase. Yes, you had Joe Burrow coming into the year, Chase Brown. Like you have all these offensive weapons. But if they can't get the football back to go and score it, none of that matters. If you can't get a stop on 3rd and 10, none of that matters. So for me, what this says about this team is that it is time to blow it up on the defensive side of the ball and go and get some guys that you can plug in immediately and go and back to being championship contenders. If that happens with Zac Taylor, is the question now that I pose to you, is this kind of the beginning of the end of the Zac Taylor era, or is this just another hitch in they giddy, so to speak? Like, oh man, it's just a hiccup right here. Like it's the NFL, anybody can lose a game like this. What do you think? Is it time for the Bengals and Zac Taylor to part ways?
Yeah, I think so. You don't have control of that team anymore. Yeah, as I always say, a head coach isn't just somebody with X's and O's. Can you lead this team and get them prepared to play each week, week in and week out? So with Zac Taylor, I just think that it can be. Now, I don't think it's just the end for him though. I really think T Higgins might be going next. Because I think they're going to try to get off some contracts so they can start getting some guys on the deeper side of the ball after they make a hire or whatever hire they make after they fire Zac Taylor. I think they're going to have to get rid of some contracts and start trading some people. Now, with that being said, can Joe Burrow be one the year after? Say next year he gets hurt again. They're going to say he's injury prone and they're going to probably try to move off of him in that big contract. So I think they're going to blow it all up. I think Zac Taylor will be the first to go, but I think we're going to see more shocking trades come out of that because they're on some heavy, heavy contracts, and they got to clean that stuff up so they could build a complete roster again, not just one on the offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball. You got some, I don't know who they are, kind of guys. They give up big plays, as you can see. So they're going to have to do that. So, yeah, I think, but to answer your question, I think Zac Taylor, yes, he will be the first to go out of this whole thing.
I'm looking at the cap for this 53-man roster currently on this season. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Orlando Brown Jr., and then Trey Hendrickson are your top 5. So if your highest paid guy, and then of course Joe Burrow, they just don't have him listed on here for some reason. So if your highest paid guys, 4 of them are offensive guys, and that speaks to what your team identity is laid out to be. I think that it is time for the Bengals to go in another direction with Zac Taylor. For the past 3 seasons, the thought has always been, man, the team starts slow and then they catch fire. They're still kind of living off of the songs of the 21 and 22 season where they finished 10-7 going into the Super Bowl year, and then they were 12-4 in the AFC Championship year. But then after that, they go 9-8, 9-8, and they're 3-6 now. His first 2 seasons, he was 2-14. The second one, it was 4-11. The year that they got Joe Burrow, and then went on to the championship game, the Super Bowl against your Rams, and then, like I said, in 2022, losing to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Those 2 times were the only times that they won the AFC North. It was the only times. Other than that, they finished 4th 3 times, and they finished 3rd 3 times. And so, like, this is just this moment in the locker room with all of the conversations and the media talks with what the offensive players are saying. It's kind of signs of the beginning of the end. Whether these guys will come back out and say, hey, we were wrong or not, is to be seen. But I truly think that Zac Taylor isn't the answer anymore. And the Bengals have to figure out a way to get the right person in that building. Who it might be is to be seen. I think that, if you give Joe Brady a call, I think he would be excited to reunite with Jamar and with Joe and get things going offensively. But I think at this point, you need to find a coach that has more of a defensive mindset that can get you back on the track that you need to be to complement that offensive unit. So we will see how things shake up there in Cincinnati and how this team can try to come back as a cohesive unit. As like I said, they're currently only having 3 losses or 3 wins on the year. That is, if they can try to salvage this season and make it worth anything for them, and they're not beefing in the locker room.